Hello everybody, HectiX here, and welcome back to TXR3. Now, I've had an idea for a little while now that I've been mulling over in my head, and I figured I'd give it a try, see if it's something you guys want to see. So, I have seen in the past a few people do basically a permadeath style run on Import Tuner Challenge, or Shotoku Battle X, I do believe was the name given to it in Japan. So I figured I'd do something similar, but instead of Import Tuner Challenge, I'm going to do it here on TXR3. So hopefully this is something you all enjoy. Now, I'm going to be doing what I'm calling the Heavyweight Challenge. Down in the description, I will leave all the rules, that sort of thing, as well as I am going to point out you will need, if you are going to pick what I'm doing with the heaviest car in the game, you will need a New Game Plus save. If you don't have one, just start fresh and use whatever the heaviest car you can buy at the very beginning. And I do believe that's the Mark II Toyota. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. But the rules are as follows. I have to buy the heaviest car in the game, which is a Mercedes-Benz S600L, which weighs 2,100 kilos, thereabouts. Yeah, so it's a big land yacht and or boat, whichever you prefer. I am not allowed to do any weight reduction whatsoever. This does include aero parts, so any sort of weight-saving aero that is non-existent, I cannot do it. Not that the Mercedes has much you can do to begin with, but can't do it. In terms of weight, I can only make the car heavier. I have to make the car as heavy as possible. So, full reinforce, and basically I have to use the heaviest engine. I can engine swap, but all the engine swap parts for specifically the Mercedes-Benz is lighter, so I will not be using that. So default engine. Everything else though, all the rest of the power stuff and the drivetrain, that is fair game, because you're not going to get very far, I don't think, without it. So that's all fair game, even though it does save some weight. So let's go buy our land yacht, shall we? I will be skipping this cutscene. Now, I am going to start in Nagoya. Nagoya is very, very short. I could clear this all in, 50 minutes to an hour, so that's probably more than likely how long the episode is going to be. That is the plan, so start here, and my RX-7. I did a rotary playthrough a little while ago, and yeah, that is the car there, but we are not using that, sadly. We are picking the Mercedes-Benz, so let's go quickly buy that. Where's Mercedes? There it is. S-Class 600L. 2,170 kilos off the gate. To put this into perspective, if I quickly back out here and go up to Isuzu, it weighs more than this SUV. Yep, that is not gonna be fun. So yeah, let's go buy our Mercedes, our massive land yacht. There we go. Color doesn't matter, money doesn't matter, so just gonna quickly go through that. Now, as I'm doing the tuning here and whatnot, I do want to challenge a few friends of mine. So the Banter Gaming channel, Raj or Benson, or both. I look forward to seeing a series you do on this if you plan to take part in the challenge. I also would like to challenge our friend Gogu, because he did a Kaido Racer 2 playthrough a couple years ago, so would very much like to see more out of him. As well as I want to challenge our friend Highway Dash, whom just started doing gameplay videos here on YouTube. So I think it'd be a nice addition to see what he could do in this game. So I look forward to seeing you guys doing a series of sorts. And basically see whoever gets the most rivals in a row without losing. hopefully I can actually get a decent record that you guys can't beat. At least that is the hope. So, oops, I wanted to buy tires. There we go. So yeah, hopefully you guys do decide to take part in this. Again, if anybody else wants to do so, I will leave the challenge rules down in the description of this video, and future videos if you want to see more. So there we go, max reinforce. Now if I wanted to take weight out, I would go down to 2153. But we are not doing that, so it's going to be 101 kilos heavier. Yeah, you really don't lose a lot of weight doing a max weight reduction on this car. You really don't. So aero, there's nothing I can pick. I will change the tachometer to the one that I prefer. And there we go. That is our car all set up. I do have the transmission wiki beside me, so I can actually set this up properly, because we are going to need it. And even then, because I have tried this a few times, and audio has been an outright pain in the ass to get right. This car does not like to accelerate that much. It does take a good while to get up to speed. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. I am going to put this as much on the acceleration side as what the guide here says, that I can get away with. So we'll put it to that. Technically I can go to 3.847, but I still want to hit 300 if at all possible, so I'm gonna give myself a little bit of leeway. Alignment, I'm gonna do my normal. I am not gonna put any camber at the front, just in case when the tires go. Yes, I do actually have more of a wrench I'm gonna throw into this, as well as I'm gonna put this in the rules section. To make it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to lower the brake balance just a little bit. There we go. Now, for an extra wrench, to make this even more difficult than it already is going to be, once I course in, I am not allowed to return back to the garage to refresh the tires. So I basically have one set, that is it. I'm allowed to go into the pits to refresh the cooling, of course, but I am not allowed to come back and get a fresh set of tires. So when the tires go, that's it. They are that way for the entire duration until I inevitably lose or I finish that particular area. And by area I mean that city completely for the stage. So if we're in stage 2, if we get there, I have to finish the entire thing on shot tires. Just to make this even more difficult than it already is. Now, since we're here in Nagoya, if anybody wants to... Actually, this is how I'm going to do it. Anybody wants to suggest Tokyo or Osaka as the next city of choice, suggest it down in the comments section below, or on my Discord if you're not already in my Discord. So whichever one gets the most suggestions, that is the course that will be next. So without further ado, let's actually get into some racing. And now you get to see just how slow this massive, massive land yacht, or boat, is. This thing does not like to move. It really doesn't. And it doesn't help that the tires are going to be inevitably shot to high heaven by the end of this. Since Nagoya has 38 rivals in stage 1, 4 of those are Wanderers. One of them I may be able to get to show up if I really want him to. I may do it just for the sake of. And that would be Midnight Black Sun. So the bottom pit, and the only pit that you have access to here in Nagoya in stage 1. You have to go into it 5 times in a... I don't think it's in a row though, just 5 times in general, and then he'll finally course in. So whether or not we end up racing him, more than likely I will try to get him out, because that's one extra opponent just to put me a little bit higher. So yeah, that is a potential rival. So in terms of how long doing all of Nagoya, at least with this car, if anything, 34 rivals should take, well, 34, 35, roughly 50 minutes to an hour. And that's with chomping a little bit out if I have to drive to the pit lane if I'm not already close. So yeah, it is going to be a little bit of a longer than normal episode. Typically I try not to go to the 50-minute to an hour mark or more than that, just because I don't think a lot of people like watching the really long episodes, especially when my commentary is not really the best to keep people entertained. And well, stage 1 is not the most entertaining because it's going to be stupidly easy for the most part. That is until the tires go and we start fighting bosses. So yeah, whether or not you guys want the really long episodes, I don't know. But typically, well, outside of this, I would definitely want to break it up, and that is something I am going to have to touch on a little bit here. I am running this, obviously, on an emulator. Now, the only way I can do the whole I can't go back to the garage to refresh the tires and just stay out and do this in a episodic kind of manner, I am going to have to utilize save states. So yeah, I do not plan to cheat. That would take the whole point of this challenge and throw it out the window, so no cheating, of course. So when I lose, I lose. That is game over. If I hit a bus and I lose all my SP, that counts. If I hit a wall too hard and I lose the race, that counts. I'm out. That's the end of the challenge. So I will have to use save states. So if that little bit of somewhat cheating in terms of not going back to the garage to refresh the tires, I will have to utilize that. So all of Nagoya though is pretty freaking easy right now. Stage 1 is mostly really easy. So I do think if we even do get to stage 2, I don't think we're gonna get there, particularly because of Tokyo, for a few reasons. Those that have played the game know the bosses, and yep, Dejected Angel is gonna probably be a pain in the ass, same with Bloodhound. So, but if we do make it to stage 2, it is going to be definitely episodic, just because doing all of Tokyo, Nagoya, or Osaka in one sitting on stage 2 without ending the video and without cutting it and breaking it up, it's going to be, yeah, way too long. Just, well, to put into perspective, I did have an idea a while ago. I don't think I'm ever going to do it. I highly doubt it. But if I'm that much of a masochist, maybe I will. I don't know. But I did have an idea to speedrun this game. Everything except for the final boss. The Ghost of Yourself, that is. Spoilers. And all the Wanders. So minus all of that. So it would be 516 rivals in total, I do believe. So provided that each race is 2 minutes at least, no more, no less, not including driving between rivals and going into the pits, loading screens, tuning, that sort of thing, it would take roughly 17 and a half hours. That is also counting that I do not lose a single race. So yeah, this is a very long game. So yeah, to speedrun this game would literally take 24 hours or more. Yeah, I don't think I could play the entire game 24 hours straight. I genuinely don't think that. I don't mind doing all-nighters, but I don't think I'd be able to do 24 hours with very little breaks to go and do something else. Just because the timer's going, it's not like I can pause the timer, right? That would make the whole thing invalid at that point. So, yeah. Don't think I'll ever do that. But it would be interesting, and as far as I know, I would be the first person to do it. Considering on speedrun.com, there is absolutely nothing on TXR3 or pretty much any TXR game besides the very first TXR on the Dreamcast. And even that game, the world record is over 6 hours. Now, that was the game on Dreamcast. And as far as I know, there's, what, 200 rivals on Dreamcast? On the one on Dreamcast? I think it's 200 rivals. I could be wrong. And it still takes the guy 6 hours to do that. I have to do 516. Yeah, that's gonna be a massive jump in time. So, yeah, I don't think I'll do it, but who knows? Maybe I'll do a live stream and be like, you know what, I plan to do this for some special for YouTube or some Twitch milestone, I don't know. So, I'm still going to keep that one in mind, but yeah, who knows on that one. Now, in terms of other stuff TXR3 related I could do here on the YouTube channel, another idea that I did have, outside of another one that I've briefly touched on, I believe I've mentioned it a few other times, but the other idea that I've had, it wouldn't be a permadeath run, because it would not last very long. I actually think it would be shorter than this. I actually would believe that that challenge would be harder than this one of all. But I wanted to do a front-wheel drive only challenge. Basically, I play through the entire game from start to finish, minus, again, the Wanderers and Rival 600, the Ghost of Yourself. So all 516, basically another full playthrough of the game, but I'm only allowed front-wheel drive. Now, stage 1 wouldn't be too bad, just like this. However, I do believe stage 2 would be next to impossible without a lot, and I do mean a lot, of cheesing. Because once you get to the high-speed stuff like the Wangan and the, basically the high-speed section here in Nagoya, as well as Osaka, yeah, good luck trying to pull on pretty much anything, and then also having to worry about the bosses. Yep, not exactly, very, very easy. So, there would be a lot of me jump cutting between races, going, okay, now I finally won, even though I probably did that race like 50 times or more, just because, yeah, I'm consistently losing, or I'm having to wait to a particular place on the highway that I know, okay, the AI is going to do something silly, and if I time this right, I can capitalize on it and get ahead. So, yeah, for that one, I would be using, again, a New Game Plus save, just because then I have access to all the cars, as well as all the tuning parts, of course. So if anybody also wants to try that one, feel free, go nuts. I do think that that would be a lot harder than this challenge, but that's just my personal opinion on that one. But yeah, that's another challenge I had in mind to potentially do. Whether or not that's something you guys want to see me do, I'd be more than happy to do that. It'll be a very, very long series. I don't plan to do what I originally did for TXR3, and by that I mean I'm not going to live stream the entire thing, just because my internet probably would still be a bit iffy at times, And if I just do it how I'm doing this, I think it's a lot easier to manage. So it would be quite a lengthy playthrough, of course. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, let me know. If you have any sort of like challenge ideas yourself that you've potentially thought up, let me know as well, down either in the comment section or again on my Discord. That would be fantastic. So I'm going to quickly check this. We have one more from Racing Funds and 2 more before the team leader and Hothead as well. So back out we go. For the second lap around here. So I believe we're up to 7 wins so far. Yes. Another Hothead member. So after this guy we'll have only 1 more to race. Now this should be also pretty easy just because it's an AE86 and again it's stage 1. Things won't start getting difficult until the tires go and I'm having to deal with bosses. That's pretty much when things will get dicey. So until then, for the most part, unless I do something really stupid, which let's face it, curse the commentator and just me be me, yeah, that's a possibility. I could mess up and could lose before then. Because let's be real, curse the commentator strikes everyone. So once I say something's going to be stupidly easy, when it actually is, that's when more than likely I'm going to make a mistake. So technically, the more I say that, the harder this challenge becomes for me, and this is even more difficult than it already is. So I could just say that over and over again, just to potentially make me lose more frequent. Or more likely to make me lose. I don't know, but I think it'd be kind of boring to say, and I'm going to lose this race, or whatever. Yeah. Don't think that would make for very interesting commentary. Not that I'm super entertaining, but hopefully I'm entertaining enough. But this is our last Racing Funds member, and then we got the team leader. And yeah, you'll see just how different, or how much of a little improvement compared to the team leader you would think that I have. Keep in mind again, I have said the acceleration on this car is not very good. And I'm about to prove that quite largely right now. So Racing Funds team leader in a Toyota Chaser. Not a bad car, wouldn't mind using it. Not the heaviest car though. And there we go. As you can see, he's actually pulling on me for a little bit, and then I finally start to reel him in. Keep in mind, this is stage 1 of the game, very first team leader on this particular section of highway. And he was pulling on me from a launch. Yeah, if that's not foreboding in any way, I don't know what is. So, don't hit the van. And don't drive into the pits on top of that. Now, I may shorten, I may slightly lengthen the gear ratio, ever so slightly, because I do know I can at least hit 315, 316 before really running out of steam. So the fact that I've only been able to hit 308 and not really budge much more after that, yeah, I probably will go in and up the speed just a little bit. Not that I'm really going to need to hit 300 anyway, considering I don't think many rivals in Stage 1 can even hit 300. And if they can, it's because of rubber banding just to keep up. But, yep, I don't think I'm going to need 300, but who knows. Now the tires are definitely starting to lose their grip. As you can see with me while riding, it's quite slippery. And this is also our first member from Real Echo, who's promptly lost pretty quickly. Sorry to be you. Oh, shame to be you, sorry. We're up to 11 wins, so I would say, what? 2 more races, and then the tires are basically completely shot to hell. And then, yep, I'll be slipping and sliding everywhere around the highway. I would love to have a spoiler on the back, because yes, it does increase the weight, provided I pick the most basic option. If I were to choose dry carbon, then that still defeats the whole purpose. So I do believe then it doesn't add weight to the car. I can't remember, but because I'm driving a Mercedes-Benz, I can't exactly do any aero to it. The most you can do is take the stock parts that are completely on it and just convert them to dry carbon. That is it. I'm not, as far as I know, able to change anything else. Because again, Mercedes-Benz, not surprised, being a more luxurious brand, they don't want you to really change and modify their cars in any kind of way, especially one for street racing, so don't really blame them on that choice. So just like how games that have damage, i.e. Gran Turismo, why it took so long to even have minor damage, because the manufacturers don't want to see their cars ruined, even though it is realistic in that sense that, yeah, you are going to take wear and tear. So I can kind of understand for the more luxurious brands, image, I get it, but at the same time, it's to be expected. But anyway, I'm completely derailing this entire thing, just going off on a tangent. But yeah, again, in terms of aero, I can't do anything to this car, sadly. So I also oh god, I was about to say maybe I'll tweak the front to be a little bit more sensitive, maybe try and get myself a little bit more steering angle, but then I remember, right, if the car gets sideways, that extra steering angle is going to come to bite me in the ass. Because once the tires go, I'm just going to spin around like a top. Oh jeez. Now I'm going to wall ride this. Because as soon as the tires go on this car, again, I've had to do multiple tries of this. Once the tires go, this car at high speed does not like to stay planted at all. So you would think having a heavier body would give it more stability. That's usually how it goes. Lighter is more nimble and agile, but more prone to spinning out. And heavier cars have worse acceleration. However, they are a lot more stable when just being driven around. So this game, I don't really think takes that into consideration. So yeah, don't really get that extra stability for having a very, very heavy car. And it's not like I can potentially be like, let's just make the car even heavier, because who knows, maybe I will get some more stability if I do so. I'm already using the heaviest car in the game. I can't really do that. The most I could do is put on whatever exactly the heaviest parts are, even if they're not the most optimal, like in terms like drivetrain, that sort of thing. But even then, I don't think it'll do much. I actually didn't pay attention to see how much weight I do save from putting the best drivetrain parts on. I'd say, what, 20, 30 kilos maybe? Max? Can't see it being much more than that. I'd have to go back in editing and look at that, see exactly how much I did shave off. But I still don't think it was too much to make that much of a difference, considering the amount of weight this car has already to begin with. But yep, we're racing an MR2 now. I wouldn't mind using it, but can't exactly use it. It would defeat the whole point of this challenge. But we do have one more rival on the highway to race. However, we are getting close to the pit, so I'm just going to go into the pit if we don't pass it. And then, oh dang it, I think we're going to pass it. Yeah, we are. Crap. Okay, looks like we're doing a little bit of back driving. He's going to slam into me. Ouch. That hurt. Jerk. Okay, so we are now back in the pit finally. It took actually quite a bit. I couldn't get the car turned around very quickly because it kept getting hit, and this car does not like to reverse. It's very, very slow at reversing, funny enough. But I am going to quickly adjust the transmission ever so slightly. I think we'll go to a 650. There should be more than enough room. There we go. Leave everything else the same. So we have one more from Real Echo, one more still from Hothead to race, and wow, we have 5 more to do for attention. Wow, I thought they had less members than that. I think actually, out of every team here, I think they have the most members, funny enough, and they are the easiest team in the game. I'd say they're easier than Rolling Guy, and they're definitely easier than Team Rat, because Team Rat's a second stage team, so they have mostly, you know, engine swapped K cars. So yep, definitely I would argue Attention is the easiest team in the game. If anybody can remember an easier team or think there's an easier one that I'm completely forgetting right now, feel free to let me know. But here's our last Hothead member. Another MR2. So my acceleration will definitely suffer that little bit more, but I actually gained, what, 10 kilometers at top speed? That's pretty much it. Not that the acceleration was already very good on this car to begin with, so not like I'm losing that much. I should be prioritizing more acceleration for that, but think we should be okay for a while. But here we go, our second team leader. Also want to take a quick drink. Okay, there we go. I actually remembered to sit down here and bring a glass of water. My throat has a nasty habit, even though this is my first recording today. My throat has a nasty habit of just dying mid-sentence. I hate it when it happens, especially at the beginning of a episode where I'm trying to do the intro and then I have to redo it because my throat decides, time to die on you. It's not particularly fun. But there we go. That was actually a very easy race. He hit the back of that van and that was him out. Thank you for the easy money. Now, I can't believe I haven't actually pointed it out yet, but not that it's not particularly hard to notice. I do not have turbo. This is a naturally aspirated vehicle. So, yeah, having that little bit of extra security for extra acceleration if I need it. Yep, I don't exactly have that. However, I could use the naturally aspirated turbo glitch. However, I'm not going to. That is cheating for this challenge, and I typically never use it. If anything, I think I may have once just to show it off here on YouTube. Could be wrong. But for those that don't know how to do it, I'll just point it out anyway for the sake of. Basically, you would buy, obviously, a naturally aspirated car. And when you're in the garage menu and you have your course select, your tuning and whatnot, hold down the select button on your controller and keep it held all the way through all the menu navigation, course in, the loading screen, all of that. once the autopilot turns off, then let go. Basically, then you will have this weird naturally aspirated turbo boost. You'll basically see fire outside the tires of your car. Now, it is, I would say, I do believe, more powerful than the level 3 turbo boost that turbo cars actually get, but at a very, very massive cost. It heats your car up like no tomorrow, and stupidly quick for the amount of boost that you get. So, not something to really use. You would use it very sparingly, and I do mean very sparingly. So, yeah, if you want to try that yourself, if you didn't already know that existed, now you know. Now you can give that a try. It works on every naturally aspirated car, I do believe. It's not just like a particular car only does it. It also does not matter if you are playing the Japanese version of the game or the North American version of the game. It works on all of them. Don't know why it works. I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know if it was actually supposed to be like an Easter egg of some kind. I have no idea. But it's in the game if you want to use it. But again, at a massive, massive cost. Anyway, here's another Real Echo member. I've already forgotten whether or not this is our last one for the team. I think there might be one more. Could be wrong. And then we have, because we did at least one more attention member. We'll have another like 4 to race from them. I actually stopped paying attention to who I was racing, so I kept focusing on what I was saying more than what I was doing. So I kinda, I lost track of what the hell was going on. So, that is our last Real Echo member, Steel Dinosaur, in a silver and or gray Celica GT4. Now, he should obviously have a better launch, being all-wheel drive. However, I should definitely have the top end when I eventually finally get there. He should hopefully hit the bus. Perfect. I'll just slide out here. Take it nice and easy for the most part, and then gun it. Don't worry, we'll hit 200 eventually. There we go. Only took a good, 5 seconds? Even though I've got 750 horsepower in this car. And I think he just hit another bus. He had a sudden SP spike right there. Or drop, not spike. But Genesis R makes their appearance now. I'm also going to skip the cutscene, because we don't need to see that. This is not a playthrough of the game, so I don't really need to show that off. And yeah, we'll just go challenge him instead of going to the pit. There's 2 more ahead after that. So yeah, I think it would just be easier just to challenge him. We'll be able to do one more lap, like one more loop around before going back to the pit. So we shouldn't get a team leader, obviously. We have quite a few more attention members to race. And we won't get the team leader for Genesis R until Seeks makes their appearance and we finish everybody there except for their team leader, of course. Because, 3-way battle for the final boss. Ogre, Deity, and Darkness 7. Now hopefully that goes well. If anything, that's when everything is going to get interesting, because, yep. Hopefully I've got the acceleration and the power to actually keep up. It's obviously, again, the weight that's going to be the massive drawback to this whole entire thing. So yeah, I've got 740 or 750 horsepower, but the power to weight ratio on this car is not very good. Not very good at all. Actually, I don't even know what the conversion is. 21, or I think we're 2250 kilos. I don't know how heavy that is in pounds. I'm gonna take a guess. Bear with me on this one. I am Canadian. I'm going to take a guess and say 3,800, 4,000 pounds. Again, feel free to let me know what the actual number is, whether or not I was close to that, or if I was way off. But I'm gonna take a guess. That sounds about right. I think it's double, roughly. It's not exactly double, but it's kinda close to double, so that's usually what I remember, but I'm probably remembering wrong for all I know. But, I don't think we're gonna beat him by the pit, so you know what? I'm actually gonna hold off on that one, because we'll end up beating him, and then I think we'll be out of, like, we'll have to do multiple races before the team leader. So, you kind of want to have like one rival left, race the team leader, and then race the final boss, instead of it being multiple cars and then the boss. Just so we can get a fresh temperature on the car. Not that we really need to be too concerned about that. Again, car does not like high speed. There we go, into the pit. Thankfully it didn't take too long, so... Okay, so yeah, we do have 4 more rivals for attention, and then it's just Genesis R and Seeks after that. Okay. Let us go back out. I will also take a quick drink again. That's better. My throat's already starting to bug me a bit. I did want to do one more recording for something else after this, so hopefully my voice manages to stay okay enough for actually to do that. But we shall see on that one. I am not going to exactly give away what I have planned, but I will say I've actually got flack from a couple of friends of mine, the fact that I haven't exactly, you know, been doing this particular thing on the channel, so I will be doing a little bit more in terms of that, put some focus on it. I don't know, I'm trying not to give too much of a hint, but I still think it's fairly obvious what I'm pointing out anyway. But for those that do know what I'm pointing out, don't spoil it. For those that can't, please and thank you. But yeah, I do want to continue that. Oops, I think I've said too much. But anyway, another attention member, or add attention. I don't know which is supposed to be it. I think it's supposed to be attention, but with the way the having the @ symbol and then still having attention written on it makes me think at attention instead. But and that's also a very sluggish drift. Oh my god. Yeah, the tires are looking a bit worse for wear, don't you think? Just a little bit. Yeah, we'll just leave him behind. Goodbye. Sayonara. So we're not going to be seeing him again around the Genesis R member. Perfect. And that's also 2.0 win combo. I actually don't know if we had that. Oh, we had that 2 races ago. Whoops. Yeah, I'm just gonna park up here and I'm gonna wait for the Genesis R rival to catch up. So I will be right back. Okay, the Genesis R member is finally caught up. Only took a minute or two. So let us race him and continue this onslaught rampage of utter winning. Whatever you want to call it, I don't know. Just trying to make some sort of weird analogy, some sort of weird like phrase, I don't know. At this point, I am just simply rambling on and hoping that whatever I'm saying isn't too stupid. Not that it was ever that smart to begin with. But anyway. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he can keep up relatively well. The GS300 or the Aristo, to be precise, is actually quite quick, and oh, won by the skin of our teeth. Yikes. Yeah, that's when the tires go and I don't enter the corner properly. That is usually the outcome. And to think, it's only going to get harder if we make it to stage 2. Now, if we do make it to stage 2, I don't expect to win for very long. I really don't. I truly believe I'm going to lose pretty quickly. I might be okay in Tokyo for like C1. This section again, stage 2 in Nagoya, as well as the starting stage area, stage 2 wise in Osaka, should be okay for the most part, because it's not a lot of high speed. But again, after that, yeah, if I make it that far, don't expect me to make it any further. I really don't expect to. Like, let's be honest. There's no way I'm gonna beat Jintei, there's no way I'm gonna beat the 3 dragons, and there's no way I'm beating God's estuary from darts. There is no way. I'd be very, very impressed if somebody beats the entire game with this challenge and doesn't cheat to do so, i.e. abusing the actual living hell out of the save states when they shouldn't be. Yeah, I don't see that happening. If anything, I would need some sort of video proof, but even then, it can still be edited and cheesed in some sort of way, so I don't know. It'd be nice to see, but at the same time, I don't think it would be done legitimately. But that's just me. Unless there's some way that you can definitively prove that you didn't. There we go. That's another Genesis R member, and that is actually the final one, I do believe. Because the next one's a blue arrow, not an orange one. Unless the orange one is after or around the corner there. Nope, it's blue. Okay. So now we just have to finish Attention, and then we move on to Seeks. And we finally finish with the final boss of the area. And again, if you, and down in the comment section, suggest which of the 2 cities you want me to do next. And whichever one gets the most suggestions, that's the one I will be doing. And speak of Midnight Black Sun from the beginning. Yep. This is going to be interesting. Hopefully he's not too difficult. He is a stage 1 wanderer, of course. Yeah, we should be fine. Yeah, we'll see you later in that Z33 of yours. In fact, that's actually a car I haven't used in a playthrough yet as well. The only time I've driven that car is to do the was it Magazine Z or Magazine Z? Where you need all the fair ladies in your current garage, not your sub-garage, and you have to be driving the Z33 or when you challenge him. So that's the only time I've used the Z33. Other than that, never really decided to use it, considering you can get it, as you see, fairly early into the game. And it's a pretty decent car to use. And even better if you can turbo swap it later on, because of course it's naturally aspirated. It's not a turbo. So yeah, definitely a decent car, but even better if you can swap a turbo into it, just for that extra punch, and obviously having the turbo boost for the extra acceleration if you needed to get out of a pinch. So our next attention member. This also means the blue arrow ahead of us is another attention member as well, because I don't believe you can get any of the other wanderers in your first night in Nagoya. I believe that's the only one you can do, because as far as I know, I do believe when you start, your first night is always clear weather. You will never have rain on the first day. After that, who knows? But first day is always clear, so you can't get Snow Dancer day 1. Maniac Bun Bun Maru, I can't remember his requirement off the top of my head. I do believe it's a specific number requirement for the day. Could be wrong. I'd have to look up the wiki again. I should know this off by heart, but I don't. And in terms of Hyper Groove, I do believe he only makes an appearance on Tuesdays and Fridays, if I remember that correctly, and you don't start on Tuesday or a Friday, you start on a Monday. So yeah, your first night, I do believe the only wanderer you can get in Nagoya, if you choose to start here first. Not in, as I smack into a divider. Yeah, the first and only rival you can get on day 1 is Midnight Black Sun, if you keep going in and out of the pit. So we have 2 more rivals from Attention, or at Attention, and then we'll take care of Seeks. So let's get right to it. Ah, dang it. Did it really? Well, that's annoying. It started the other rival that I need behind us. So this is going to be, I'm going to race this guy, win by an absolute country mile, and then I'm going to have to do a quick jump cut to when the rival behind us actually catches up. Because I'll never get the car turned around to actually go back and just drive to him and then turn it back around quick enough. It would take even longer than just sitting there. This thing does not like to reverse. It really doesn't. I think the most I could get out of it was like 5 kilometers an hour. It really doesn't want to reverse. Really doesn't like it. There we go. He should be done in a moment. Perfect. So I will pull over here, and I shall wait for the rival behind us to finally inevitably catch up. So I will be back in a brief moment. Okay, he finally caught up. So let's go beat him, beat the team leader, the easiest team leader in the game, and then we shall start on Seeks. So just rhyme. Thankfully an English name and a Japanese game. And yes, that rhymed, and I didn't even want it to. So kinda fitting here. And that was also a lame take at a joke that I didn't even intend to actually do. That was completely unintentional. Oh god. You know when I've run out of stuff to say if I'm making very, very lame jokes without trying. There we go. He'll probably smack into the wall at mediocre speed. I would say high speed, but let's be real. He ain't moving that fast. There we go. That's him done. Final team leader of the normal teams. And we'll just leave him in the dust. Eventually. There we go. It did take a moment to, you know, accelerate with all this weight. But there we go. Finally got ahead. Yeah, again, if that's not foreboding in any way, shape, or form, I don't know what is. I really don't. So now we just leave him in the dust. Because I highly doubt he's even able to hit 250 kilometers an hour. I'd be very, very impressed if he could. And there's certainly no way in hell that thing is gonna shift to 300. No way. But we now have Seeks. I'll be skipping the cutscene. No sense in watching it. Sorry. If you want to see the full game with cutscenes included, again, I have a playthrough of the entire game, so feel free to watch that. But instead of driving all the way to that orange arrow, I'm just going to go into the pit. Be a lot quicker, even though I am going through a loading screen. So we have 4 members to do there, and then the team leaders and final boss, which are the final bosses of this area. English, I do speak it. It just takes me a bit. Definitely takes me a bit. Anyway, Michelle is up first in a 180SX, or RPS13 if I remember the chassis code correctly. And away we go. Now I don't expect Michelle here to actually keep up. I'll be very impressed if she actually can. And in fact, she's actually keeping up just a bit. Now this is going to be kinda deadly. I know she was going to hit the van. It was more me I was concerned about. Having to angle that properly without 1, spinning out, and 2, hitting the wall too hard. If I had relatively good condition tires, I wouldn't be too concerned. But my tires are completely bald right now. So I don't exactly have any sort of grip luxury, do I? Even though I am driving a luxury car. At least in the era of 2003. Whether or not this still counts as luxurious now... where's that doubt button? I need to push it. Because I have high doubt on that. When somebody finds that, feel free to let me know. I could definitely use that. But anyway, let's go race the second member of Seeks. When we finally inevitably get there. There we go. In a red RX-7. I do believe this is Red Sheep in English. At least that's the name in the English version I do believe that this member got. I do know the final member before you actually race Ogre Deity and Darkness 7 is Orange Pegasus, in terms of Seeks anyway, which is a orange Mark III Supra, which it's a shame you get that so late in the game that you can't really do a playthrough with it, unless you do New Game Plus, of course. But yeah, I do remember him off the top of my head. In terms of the black RX-7 that's next, I don't remember what his name is in English. or at least in the English version of the game. I am drawing a complete blank. I do not... There's names I remember and there's names I don't. And you would think with the amount of hours I've put into this game, I would remember quite a bit off the top of my head, and I don't. I don't remember as much as you might think. I'm constantly having to go back and refresh myself and be like, wait a minute, was it this again or was it that? All the damn time. Again, just like the Wanderer's Guide, or just Wanderers in general, most of them I don't even know off the top of my head. I still have to go to the wiki and actually be like, wait a minute, what was it again? Because I can never remember. There's just too much to remember. So yep, Black RX-7. Do not remember what his name is. And obviously I can't read that, so I can't tell you. I don't know my kanji well enough. Because both of those characters are kanji. 100%. And now we just leave him in the dust, hopefully. Provided I don't make a mistake, and Curse the Commentator doesn't start to bite me in the ass. But knowing my luck, it'll probably happen at some point. Scoot around this van. I am going to swing way wide on this, just in case. Just because the car, again, does not like high-speed cornering whatsoever. And we'll go race Orange Pegasus. Then we'll deal with the final boss. Or bosses, again, I should say. Because there's more than one. Oh, here we go. Hard on the brakes. Oh god. Yep, bad tires, bad situation. Also, to me, well, I did say orange. I don't know. It looks between an orange or a brown. But I don't know if that's just because we're racing at night right now and there's not exactly the most light in the world. Can't remember if his car looks more orange in the actual rival menu itself. I don't remember. But if anybody's going to keep up besides Ogre Deity and Darkness 7 right now on this team, it would be this guy. After all, he is in a Mark III Supra. So I would expect a little bit out of him. Hard on the brakes. Ooh, that was a very smooth entry to a very, very good wall ride, and I didn't lose very much for that. I'm very impressed with myself. I'm just going to give myself a nice pat on the shoulder here. Good job. And we'll move on to the final bosses of the area. Ogre Deity and Darkness 7. It's been a while since I've raced these guys. So, let's finish this episode off with a win, shall we? Let's go get them. Bring it on. Ogre Deity already into the back of a van. Good job. Idiot. Darkness 7 here. Oh. That's dicey just because of my tires. Remember to shift up. Wall ride. There we go. Try not to lose too much SP and don't spin out. Now we have a really long straightaway, so just boot it and go. I would expect them to kind of rubber band just a bit, at least here in stage 1. Oh, Ogre Deity finished, or failed first. I'm very surprised at that. It's usually Darkness 7, whom I do believe just hit a van. I did see a sudden drop in SP there. And there we go. That is all of Nagoya, minus 3 Wanderers, of course. Done in one entire episode. Bonus money that doesn't even matter. because we don't need it. I will be skipping the cutscene here, of course. So there we go, 34 wins, no losses. And apparently, I hit 317. 316 was my best with this car. So wherever I did 317, I don't even remember. I wasn't paying attention. So there we go. So yeah, that is going to be it for this episode. Again, down in the comment section, let me know your decision on which city you want me to go to next, Tokyo or Osaka. Whichever one gets the most suggestions, that's the one I will pick. So with that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this kind of thing, this idea of mine, and I hope to see you in the next episode. So with that, take care, bye bye.